You are not what you were told. You feel it first as a small ache behind the eyes, a private skepticism that rises when someone says your name as if it could hold all of you. You look at your reflection and recognize a familiar arrangement of features, a history folded into skin, a string of roles that fit like clothes. Yet there is a quiet that answers when the theater lights dim, a different knowledge that says the play is moving through you rather than you being the play. Here, in this small, soft knowing, there is a promise. The real you is less fragile and more vast than any name, shape, or story can claim. This is not escapism. This is not denial. It is an invitation to notice where you have been carrying the rest of the world on your ribs and to learn how to set it down with gentleness. Notice the relief that suggestion brings. You are offered clarity, not pressure, a path that does not require you to become someone else, but to stop mistaking the props for the self. Context. Most of us grow up in a world that teaches identity like a ledger. Name, lineage, job title, achievement, the colors of your childhood, the dramas you survived. These entries are useful. They tell stories you can hand to others across a table. But they are not the account of your being. They are annotations on a fuller page you scarcely read. You know this because life presses against those entries until they creak. You have played roles and lost roles, loved and been unchosen, gained a title and watched it wobble. The consistency you long for is often sought in the wrong place. Not because you are careless, but because you were taught to look there. Thesis. The danger is not seeing you already see, but how you carry what you see. The real revolution is less about changing the picture and more about loosening your grip on the frame. Movement I. Seeing the game. Imagine life as a stage. You are given lines, costumes, cues. For a long while you believe the audience is judging your worth. You think that applause equals reality. But what if the stage is simply a place where the mystery dresses in many clothes? The roles are necessary. They are the language through which the mystery speaks. Playing your part well can be beautiful. The trouble begins when playing becomes believing in the costume more than in the dancer. Think of existence as an ocean and you as a wave. The wave has a crest, a history, a direction. It hears its name in the spray and commodifies its singular arc as identity. Yet the wave cannot remember the ocean which raises it. Here's the paradox. The wave is real. It moves, it breaks, it sings. And it is also an expression of something vaster and kinder than any single crest. Consider the board game. You move pieces, you win and lose, you argue with partners about strategy. You invest the game with importance because it gives you a measure of skill and narrative. And when the game ends, someone clears the board. The rules remain. The players go home. The person who equated their life with the game finds grief when the pieces scatter. But the one who knows they are the player and the player's breath is free to enjoy the play. And when it ends, to put the board away without panic. You have been taught to treat the mirror as an oracle. You look in and collect static facts, eyes, mouth, scars, favor, the day you felt brave. You assemble these into a convincing fiction. This is me. Yet the mirror reflects only surface. It never shows the currents beneath, the intentions, the quiet attention, the capacity to be surprised. If you learn to inhabit the mirror without confusing it for the ocean, you will play your part without believing you are limited to it. A friend once told me a short story. He sat with an old woman who had lost nearly everything in her life, and yet laughed at small things, the way light fell on a cup, the patience of a neighbor's dog. He expected bitterness and instead found a merciful clarity. He asked, "How do you do it?" She shrugged, breathed, and said, "I stopped pretending my trunk was the whole forest." He left that afternoon with a lighter step and a slower conversation with himself. What we are taught, to harden identity into a fortress, often clashes with what helps. The art of softening the courage to be ambiguous, the willingness to be seen as both name and nothing, so that our hearts may unburden and play. Movement 2. The cost of the illusion. You chase credentials, you tighten your smile, you tone your sorrow, you perform happiness, and you hoard your doubt. The cost is quiet but real. Fatigue that reaches bone, relationships worn thin by roles, tenderness dulled by rehearsals. You compare as if comparison were an accurate mirror, when most comparisons are games rigged by fear. You rescue as if saving others would finally confirm you. You rush as if speed could stitch together meaning, and in each motion you spend energy that might otherwise be available for simple presence. 3 subtle ways this shows up for you. You measure yourself by a yesterday that no longer exists. You replay an old scene, a success, a betrayal, a loss, and treat it as current currency. This drains the day of its fresh possibilities and keeps you bargaining with ghosts. You attend to yourself like a business plan. Optimize, refine, promote. Optimization makes you efficient but often brittle. Life prefers organs that pulse with tenderness, not gears that click. You silence small griefs because they are inconvenient or embarrassing. The accumulation of unspoken sorrow becomes a fog that distorts the horizon. You act through it and call the actions yourself. You tighten in 3 rhythms: the posture of comparison, the reflex to fix, the habit of performance. Each one asks you for a cost, your aliveness. It is not that these things are wrong, they are human responses. But imagine the economy of your attention as a garden. If attention is only spent on pruning for show, the soil will grow poor. If attention is allowed to rest, to compost, to surprise itself, then small shoots of new tenderness will appear. Spontaneous, stubborn, true. Movement 3. The turn. Here's the paradox. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving in to the fact of being alive without the continuous rehearsal of control. Surrender as a verb means you come home to the body's willingness to breathe and the mind's willingness to look without always naming, fixing, or fleeing. Consider a parable. A river comes down from the mountains, brown and busy, loaded with twigs, with stories of where it has been. People come and try to straighten its course to serve a field or to prove their cleverness. But when they leave the river alone, when they remove a log here, allow a bank to erode there, the water settles. In the settling, it becomes transparent. Stones glint. Fish return. The river did not need strategy so much as space. In the same way, your inner current is often clarified when you stop directing every bend. Discernment is the cousin of surrender. It is not blind acceptance. It is a tender inspection, knowing when to act and when to stay soft, when a boundary is necessary and when openness is wise. You can hold both, steadiness and flexibility, without cynicism. And yet you might say, if I soften, will I not be taken? The answer is nuanced and humane. Boundaries protect your aliveness. They are not walls that separate you from the world, but thresholds that let you choose what passes. Firmness without hardness, tenderness without collapse. This is the middle art. Application. Lived wisdom. Try this as an experiment. For one day, notice the names you use about yourself. Write them on a paper. Your job, your roles, the nouns that feel important. Now fold the paper and place it on a table. Walk in the room and watch how often you reach for the paper in conversation with yourself. Notice the relief when you remember the paper is only paper. Consider the following gentle practices offered without pressure and with invitation. Pause, feel, allow, act. Pause. When a strong emotion arises, take one breath and pause. This is not avoidance, it is a small gap that allows clarity to emerge. Pausing creates the space in which reactions loosen. Feel. Allow the body to be what it is. Name the sensation, tightness, warmth, fluttering, without narrating it into a catastrophe. Feeling is information, not verdict. Allow. Give the feeling room without obliging it to determine your next move. Allowing is not indulgence, it's respectful presence. Act. Choose an action from a place of clarity. The act need not be grand. Often the most wise acts are small and ordinary. Try, don't perform. Try this sequence once a day this week. Notice how the gap between impulse and action grows kinder. Here are 3 micro practices to train tenderness without turning life into homework. For 1 hour, speak to yourself as you would to a small animal you love, with kindness and uncomplicated language. When anger rises, imagine your voice is 2 rooms away. Speak the truth quietly. Let the volume match the room. Before making a major decision, take a short walk with no phone and ask your feet what they want. Feet are honest. You don't need to be perfect at any of these. They are experiments in the laboratory of everyday life. Try them as if curiosity were your companion, not as if you were correcting a flaw. Another practical frame: see, soften, select. See, notice what is happening without immediate commentary. Soften, relax the body's defensive muscles. A softer face often leads to a softer mind. Select, make a choice from a less reactive center. Choose what aligns with your long-term tenderness. Each step is 2 to 3 breaths. Each step brings you home to intention rather than panic. Remember, these are not techniques to manufacture a new self. They are ways of rediscovering and clearing the pathways to what is already there. Application continued. Small rituals. For morning, when you wake, before checking the world's noise, place a hand on your chest. Feel the breath. Whisper to yourself, I am here. It's not mystical, it's practical. The chest is a compass that, when attended to, points you toward yourself. For relationships, practice the phrase, help me hear you. Use it when conversation becomes sharp. This redirects attention from reaction to listening and invites the other into a shared curiosity. For work, once a week, schedule a 10-minute pause where you do nothing productive. Sit. Look out a window. Let the mind rearrange itself. Productivity often improves when a mind is allowed to be less brutal. These are not rules, only invitations. Take them lightly. Waste is not failure. Repetition is not a moral test. Do what feels like music. Leave the rest on the shelf. Integration. Belonging without the performance. There is a quiet belonging available that asks nothing from you except the willingness to be present to your own presence. This belonging is not applause. It is a warmth that hums beneath the busy surface. It says, you are not late, you are not broken, you are here. Solitude and loneliness are different flavors. Solitude is a room where you learn your voice without an audience. Loneliness is the ache when you want connection, and it is absent. You can hold both. Choose solitude as a practice rather than surrendering to isolation born from fear. Boundaries are the grammar of tenderness. They help others understand where you begin and end without making them into foes. Being in the world but not of it is practical. It means you show up fully. And yet remember, you are not consumed by the world's judgments. You can love without the need to be loved back in a particular way. You can give without tying your worth to the response. This is not abstaining from life. It is fully entering life with the quiet knowledge that you are more than its returns. Crescendo, return. Return now to the opening image, the small ache behind the eyes that asks whether your name contains you. You have walked the stage, sailed as a wave, and watched a river settle. These are not metaphors to escape into. They are tools to remind you that the real you is both intimate and generous. The real you. Beyond name, form, and story is not a destination you will arrive at by force. It is a clearer way of moving through the world, a way of practicing presence so that the props no longer convince you of their permanence. You may rest, you may play. Let this be enough for today. 38,000 characters.